So, extracellular fluid transport and mixing system, the blood circulatory system. So, extracellular fluid is transported through the body in two stages. The first stage is the movement of blood through the body in the blood vessels. So, through the blood, it is moving in the body via blood vessels. And the second is the movement of fluid between blood capillaries and the intracellular spaces between the tissue cells. So that is the second type of movement or transport method of extracellular fluid. So over here in the diagram, it is being shown that how this fluid is actually exchanged or transported through different parts of body. So figure 1.1 shows the overall circulation of blood. All the blood in the circulation traverses the entire circuit an average of once each minute when the body is at rest, and as many as 6 times each minute when a person is extremely active. Okay, so over here, as you can see, uh, from the lungs you get your oxygen, which is then pumped through left heart into your body, and then it is being transported to gut, and from there uh, nutrition and excretion is being done, which means that you get your nutrients, and then there is excretion process being going on at this stage. And then again, when this blood goes into kidneys, over there is the process of excretion as well as regulation of electrolytes. And then the third thing is that there is atrial end, and then these arteries are being converted into capillaries, and then there is venous end, and then and through this capillary there is exchange of a lot of materials and ions, and then this blood uh, this blood goes into right part of the heart, and then carbon dioxide is being excreted out through lungs. So this is the pathway, general organization of the circulatory system. Okay, as the blood passes through the blood capillaries, continual exchange of extracellular fluid occurs between the plasma portion of the blood and the interstitial fluid that fills the intracellular spaces. So there are spaces between the cells, and in those spaces there is a fluid that is called as interstitial fluid. So there is exchange of materials and uh, nutrients, and the process is being shown in figure 1.2 over here. As you can see, these are cells, and between these cells there are some empty spaces uh, in which there is interstitial fluid. So there is exchange of materials from the blood and cells. So if if the cell want to get rid of some material, it will release it into uh, the surrounding spaces, and that spaces will be obviously having interstitial fluids. Now those materials are in interstitial fluid, and then those materials will be taken up bloods by the blood present in these tiny capillaries. So in this way there is exchange of materials. Okay, so the capillary walls are permeable to most molecules in the plasma, uh, in the blood plasma, with the exception of plasma proteins. Only plasma proteins cannot be passed because they are too large to pass through capillaries. Therefore, large amount of fluid and its dissolved constituent diffuse back and forth between the blood and the tissue spaces, as shown by the arrows in figure 1.2 that we have already discussed. So this process of diffusion is caused by kinetic motion of molecules in the plasma and the interstitial fluid. That is, the fluid and dissolved molecules are continually moving and bouncing in all direction in the plasma and the fluid in the intercellular spaces, as well as through capillary pores. Few cells are located more than 50 micrometer from a capillary, which ensure diffusion of almost any substance from the capillary to the cell within a few seconds. Okay, so this process is rapidly going on because they are located very closely and they have ability to diffuse through. So thus the extracellular fluid everywhere in the body, both that of the plasma and that of the interstitial fluid, is continually being mixed, therefore maintaining homogeneity of extracellular fluid throughout the body. So this is the reason why extracellular fluid is homogeneous overall or throughout the body, because it is continuously being mixed with the plasma. Okay. Origin of nutrients in the extracellular fluid. Respiratory system. Figure 1.1 shows that each time the blood passes through the body, it also flows through the lungs. The blood picks up oxygen in alveoli, that is the smallest unit of lungs, thus acquiring oxygen needed by cell. The membrane between alveoli and lumen of the pulmonary capillary, the alveolar membrane, is only 0.4 to 2 micrometer thick, and oxygen rapidly diffused by molecular motion through the membrane into the blood. So this is how oxygen is coming into the body, and carbon dioxide will be eventually going out of the body. So now come to gastrointestinal tract. Uh, a large portion of blood pumped by the heart also passes through the wall of the gastrointestinal tract. Here, different dissolved nutrients, including carbohydrate, fatty acid, amino acid, are absorbed from indigested ingested food into the extracellular fluid of the blood. Okay. Over here, it is being written that large portion of blood is pumped by the heart, also passes through the walls of. So when heart is pumping blood, that blood also goes to gastrointestinal tract, and thereby it will collect all those nutrients which are being dissolved or which are being collected by GIT. So now that blood will also carry carbohydrates, fatty acid, and amino acids, and so now that blood is also having those components. So now if we talk about liver and other organ that perform primarily metabolic functions. Not all substances absorbed from the gastrointestinal tract can be used in their absorbed form by the cell. Obviously, some are bigger molecules. They cannot be utilized as energy source immediately. They have to be converted into something else before they can be utilized. So for that function, for that purpose, um we have to make sure that those things go to certain organs like liver to be converted into different molecules or substances so that they could be utilized later. So the liver changes the chemical composition of many of these substances to more usable form, and other tissue of the body, fat cells, gastrointestinal mucosa, kidney, and endocrine gland help modify the absorbed substances or store them until they are needed. So when they will be needed, they will be acquired from those organs or from those body parts. The liver also eliminate certain waste products in the body and toxic substances that are ingested. Okay, now we have musculoskeletal system. How does the musculoskeletal system contribute to homeostasis? The answer is obvious and simple. Were it not for the muscles, the body could not move to obtain the food required for nutrition. The musculoskeletal system also provide motility for protection against adverse surrounding, without which the entire body along with its hemostatic mechanism could be destroyed. So next we have is removal of metabolic end products. So now uh, uh, in the previous topic we were discussing how we are going to collect all those necessary things or components from outside the body. Now once they are inside the body, they are going to be making some things which are not utilized by our body, that are uh, end products, or they are waste products generated from different metabolic reactions. So over here, first of all, if we talk about removal of carbon dioxide by the lungs, at the same time that blood picks up oxygen in the lungs, carbon dioxide is released from the blood into lung alveoli. The respiratory movement of air into and out of these lungs carry carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is the most abundant of all the metabolic products. Okay. Uh, this is important thing, that the most important metabolic product is carbon dioxide. Okay. uh, Kidneys. Kidneys, passage of blood through the kidneys removes most of the other substances from the plasma beside carbon dioxide that are not needed by the cells. The substances include different end product of cellular metabolism, such as urea, uric acid. They also include excesses of ions, water from the food that accumulate in the extracellular fluid. The kidney perform their function first by filtering large quantities of plasma through the glomerular capillaries into the tubules, and then reabsorbing into the blood substances needed by the body, such as glucose, amino acid, appropriate amount of water, and many of the ions. Most of the other substances that are not needed by the body, especially metabolic waste such as urea, creatinine, are reabsorbed poorly and pass through renal tubules into the urine. So over here, what he's saying, that kidneys actually filter most of its products or most of things through glomerular capillaries, and then reabsorb selectively only though it will absorb reabsorb only those things which are actually required by the body, such as glucose, amino acid, or appropriate amount of water. And anything that is in excess, or anything that is not the necessary of the body, it will be excreted through renal tubule into the urine. Okay, so gastrointestinal tract. Undigested material that enters the gastrointestinal tract and some waste product of metabolism are eliminated in the feces. Liver. Among the many function of liver is detoxification, and it is very important with respect to pharmacology. or removal of indigested drugs and chemicals. The liver secrete many of these waste into the bile to be eventually eliminated in the feces. So this is one of the very important functions of liver, that is detoxification. Okay. So next we have is regulation of the body function. Nervous system. Nervous system is composed of three major parts. Number one, sensory input portion. Second is central nervous system or integrative portion. Okay, and third one is motor output portion. The sensory receptor detect the state of the body or its surrounding. For example, receptors in the skin alert us whenever an object touches the skin. The eyes are sensory organs that give us a visual image of the surrounding area, and ears are also sensory organ. The central nervous system is composed of brain, spinal cord. The brain store information, generate thoughts, and create ambition, and determines reaction that the body perform in response to those sensations. Appropriate signals are then transmitted through the motor output portion of the nervous system to carry out one's desire. So first of all, it is like, uh, if you think of a body, and now there are some signals coming toward that body. Now those are sensory portion of the nervous system. Those things are considered as sensory portion of the nervous system, because body will be receiving those sensations or those responses, and then it will analyze that information, and after analyze it will generate some kind of result or some kind of output, and then that output will be released or generated or will be transported uh, to to the environment. That will be then called as motor portion or motor function. Okay. An important segment of the nervous system is called as autonomic system. It operates at a subconscious level and control many functions of internal organs, including the level of pumping, activity of by the heart, movement of the gastrointestinal tract, and secretion by many of the body glands. Now there is a segment of nervous system that is called as autonomic system. It is involuntary system, which means it is not in human consciousness. It is subconscious level, and we cannot control this part of the nervous system. So uh, it includes it has different functions such as pumping of heart and movement of your gut and several other functions. So now if we talk about hormone systems. Located in the body are endocrine glands, organs, and tissue that secrete chemical substances called hormones. Now, body release different kind of chemicals which are called as hormones. Hormones are transported in extracellular fluid to other parts of the body to help regulate cellular function. For example, thyroid hormone increase the rate of most chemical reaction in all cells, thus helping set the tempo of bodily activity. Insulin control glucose metabolism. uh, Adrenocortical hormones control sodium and potassium ions and protein metabolism. Parathyroid hormone control bone, calcium and phosphate. Thus the hormone provide a regulatory system that complement the nervous system. The nervous system controls many muscular and secretory activities of the body, whereas the hormonal system regulates many metabolic functions. So, the nervous system controls many muscular and secretory activity of the body, whereas a hormonal system is responsible for metabolic functions. This is something important and it should be remembered. Okay. So the nervous and hormonal system normally work together in a coordinated manner to control essentially all the organ system of the body. Protection of the body. Now, how your body is being protected from external environment or from microorganisms or whatsoever. So immune system include white blood cell tissue cell derived from mm, white blood cell, the thymus, lymph node, lymph vessel that protect the body from pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. The immune system provides a mechanism for the body to carry out the following. So distinguish its own self from the hormone harmful foreign cells and substances. So first of all, it has a function or it has a mechanism to distinguish between your own normal cells and the foreign cells or harmful substances. And the second is it destroys the invader by uh, phagocytosis or by producing sensitized lymphocytes or specialized protein that are called as antibodies that destroy or neutralize the invader. Now if something is coming out from the outside of the body and we will name it as invader, and now your immune system will fight against it through phagocytosis, which is engulfing of that substance or that invader, or it can react by making some specialized protein that are called as antibodies or some other cells like sensitized lymphocytes which can destroy or neutralize the invader. So next, integumentary system. So the skin and its various appendages, including hair, nail, glands, and other structure, cover, cushion, protect the deeper tissues and organs of the body. Generally, provide a boundary between body's internal environment and the outside world. The integumentary system is also important for temperature regulation and excretion of waste, and it provides a sensory interface between the body and the external environment. The skin generally comprise about 12 to 15% of the body weight. So this is how they protect your body. Now let's talk about reproduction. Although reproduction is sometimes not considered as a humus, homeostatic function, it helps maintain homeostasis by generating new beings to take place of those that are dying. This may sound like permissive use of the term homeostasis, but it illustrates that in the final analysis, essentially all body structure are organized to help maintain the automaticity and continuity of life.